Mpumalanga Education MEC Catherine Dlamini joins us now on the line for more. A very good evening to you, MEC. Thank you so much for joining us and a warm welcome to the late edition.
Thank you very much, Simpiwe, for the opportunity. Good evening to you.
Indeed. Well, dare I say it's a very good evening as the country is mourning the death of the former Deputy President David Mabuza. And MEC, as Mpumalanga and ultimately the country mourns the passing of David Mabuza, what stands out for you personally when you reflect on his roots as a teacher before entering politics?
No, thank you very much. Let me start off by saying we also join the people of South Africa in expressing our deepest and heartfelt condolences to the wife, family, friends, and comrades of the late Comrade David Mabuza, whose political home remained the African National Congress. What stands out for me, I was fortunate because I worked very close with him since 1994. When he joined the Department of Education as the MEC for Education, I was in the Department of Health. But when I also later joined the Office of the Premier, where I was working with all the departments, what stands out for me is that he did not only like education, he was very passionate about education. In fact, he was a visionary. He totally changed the Department of Education as a person who was part of the team that put together what we call today as a department, the Mpumalanga Department of Education, from different administrations at the time, as we know. But also the look of schools that he built during his term in Department of Education are the schools that we call today as the state-of-art schools, which we're still building today, and we're very much proud of what we're doing as a province. We're still working on his legacy. But not only that, in fact, he was one person who loved people, especially the poor. In terms of schools, I don't know whether other provinces are doing what we're doing in Mpumalanga. He came up with a concept of building schools for the learners from the farming communities. You'll know how farming communities are and their children. We are having most beautiful schools in the province. Currently, we'll be opening the 7th boarding school in Mpumalanga. Very beautiful. When you look at far, you'll think it's a university or a college.
Now, MEC, let's talk about the impact that Mr. Mabuza's experience as a teacher had on his priorities when he later became MEC for Education and then Premier in Mpumalanga. Are there any specific education policies or even programs currently running in Mpumalanga today that were initiated by him or even inspired by his understanding of the challenges teachers face on the ground?
One of the programs that he started, besides the schools that I was talking about, the math and science concept, as we know that most of us, we were made to understand that math and science are difficult subjects. As a math teacher, he pioneered that we have a math and science and accounting academy in Mpumalanga province, negotiated with the private sector. We are having that academy now. Linked to that academy, currently, we have 101 schools that are dealing with pure math, science, and technology. We just added accounting now. Those schools are linked to that academy. It is his vision. If it wasn't for him, I don't know whether we'll have it today, but we're living in his legacy. But also, I've just spoken about the boarding schools for learners in farming schools. So it's one thing that we are living with it today, and we're still proud of it. We're very much proud of it. But the one thing that I must also say is that the learners that are in Russia, China, and other countries today from the Mpumalanga province is one of his programs that he started when he was still the premier of the province, to say they must not end here in South Africa or locally, but they must go to university. But he, as a person, he also paid for a number of bursaries for children. He really loved people, especially the poor. He made big impact in so many people's life. Not only schools, building houses for people. When we go to door to door with him, and he finds a family that is very poor, you will not leave that family before he contributes something. He will tell you, go and buy food for them. But over and above, he'll ask them, is there any person working here? If there's no person, he'll make sure that one person in the family is working so that the family will have permanent food, not the food parcels or the food that we buy.
Indeed, and he certainly was a people's person. I mean, just judging by, the different accounts that have been offered, as a way of paying their tribute and condolences to Mr. Mabuza, and he was also known to emphasize discipline and community values. So, MEC, do you think this stemmed from his teaching years, and how is this ethos being continued in schools today?
You will remember that before democracy, you will always find learners on the streets during school hours. But since democracy, when he was the first MEC of education, you will really find learners on the street. That discipline is still there. Yes, we do have some ills in our schools, but in terms of discipline, for teachers to be in the class on time and learners attending learning, that discipline is still there. We are having that in our school. We don't have a problem of learners who will be loitering around the streets while teaching and learning is taking place. We still enjoy that discipline that he implemented during his time as an MEC for Education, 1994.
All right, MEC, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for sharing your fond memories and recollections of the legacy that has been earmarked by the late Deputy President, or former Deputy President David Mabuza. We do appreciate your time.